that we always have to keep in mind and make sure that the ingredients of the makeup that we're using is clean. And we don't have wudu, and we have to make wudu. We have to make sure that we remove our entire makeup. The big question, is it halal? Is it permissible to wear makeup outside of the house? It's also important for us to understand that it's not only the woman's responsibility to maintain the haya in the society. It's very important to educate our sons, our young boys, our men on this too, that you also have to lower your gaze. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Assalamu alaikum, everyone. Today in Alima Insights, inshallah, we're going to be talking about makeup. And I'm going to try my best to discuss almost everything, or actually everything pertaining to makeup. But definitely if I miss something and you guys have a question about it, please feel free to ask in the comment section and I will get back to you guys. So the very first thing about makeup that we should discuss is the ingredients in makeup, right? So I'm going to get to the part where is it okay to wear it outside and is it okay to wear it in front of certain people? I'm going to get to that, inshallah. So make sure you watch the video until the end. But the very first thing that we need to keep in mind is the ingredients that are inside makeup, right? So definitely if there is an ingredient that is made out of gelatin, and the gelatin is retrieved from, so it's basically pig gelatin, we cannot wear that product, because if we're going to wear that product, our salah is not going to count, and we cannot wear anything that is made from that. So that's something that we always have to keep in mind and make sure that the ingredients of the makeup that we're using is clean. Now, the second thing to also keep in mind is salah, right? So if we put on makeup and then it's time to make salah and we don't have wudu and we have to make wudu, we have to make sure that we remove our entire makeup. And when I say entire, I'm talking about when we are doing makeup that involves serums and then foundations and concealers, and there's like multiple layers of makeup on the skin and there's full coverage. And it's not the type of makeup that if you're just going to splash water on your face, it's going to remove. It's normally, we have to use certain types of wipes and makeup removers to even remove it. So if it's that amount of makeup that you have done, you have to make sure that you remove all of it before you make wudu, because the water is not going to penetrate through the makeup to get to your skin. So a great tip is that you make wudu and then you put on your makeup. And then inshallah, you try your best to make sure that you can keep your wudu for the next salah or the upcoming salahs that you have to pray with the makeup on. Of course, if you have to make wudu again, then priority should be that you remove the makeup and you make wudu. But that is something to definitely keep in mind. Now, the big question, is it halal? Is it permissible to wear makeup outside of the house? Now, I'm talking about makeup that those people wear who only wear a hijab and they don't wear a niqab, right? So is it okay for a hijabi woman to wear makeup outside? A decade ago or a couple of years back even, some of the answers used to be, no, it's not okay. It's completely haram. And a long time ago, definitely that was the answer we used to hear a lot. But the issue with that is that there is so much different types of makeup right now that just to give a blanket statement that, makeup is a haram outside is basically, we show how uneducated we are about makeup. And, something we all know is that makeup is a big part of many women's lives, right? So to just give that statement is not going to fix the problem. We really need to talk about how is makeup permissible outside and how is it haram. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, right, He says in the Quran, وَلَا يُبْدِينَ زِينَتَهُنَّ, that they should not expose their beauty. They should not expose their adornment. And this is when He's talking about Muslim women covering. And then after this phrase, there's a whole list of all the mihram men that, we can go in front of while we are, looking beautiful and we have enhanced our beauty. So there's a whole list of the mihrams, right? But basically anybody besides that, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, وَلَا يُبْدِينَ زِينَتَهُنَّ, that they should not expose their beauty. Now, the word zina or beauty, right? It's pretty general. And everybody takes it how they think it's, or everybody interprets it how they feel is the best way, right? So some people have said that because someone's beauty is determined by their face, right? People that believe that niqab is fard, they actually use one of their evidences is this phrase that we should not expose our beauty outside. Then you have other people that say that no, it's not about the face, it's just about other body parts. Then we have certain people who say, no, it's about the clothes they wear and they should not be flashy. And the list goes on. So if we were to put makeup into this category, or we were to try to use this ayah to determine where makeup stands, right? The best way to put it is subjective to any situation. So for example, if someone is going to college and there are males in that class, sometimes the professors, or a lot of times the professor is male as well, and the sister is wearing a hijab, but she's wearing makeup that makes you look twice. And I mean, when I'm saying that, you exactly know what I'm talking about, that it's makeup that's like sticking out. It's not a makeup that you would wear in a professional setting, right? So it's like party makeup in college. Now, definitely because of that setting and because it's going to be enticing at that point, it's going to create a lot of attention, draw a lot of attention, right? It would be considered impermissible to wear party makeup in a college setting or in an office setting or any professional setting. But if somebody goes to a professional setting, right, and they're just wearing basic makeup, and when I say basic makeup, I'm talking about the no makeup look, like it's just a little bit of concealer, a little bit of foundation, just something to, sometimes we wear makeup, we just want to feel, good, or some people actually feel more confident in their makeup, and that's perfectly fine. So it's like you're wearing makeup, but it's not noticeable. It's not something that someone's going to drop everything and they're going to be like, you're sticking out, right? Then that makeup is fine. And that is why it's wrong to say that, wearing makeup outside is haram, because makeup comes in so many different forms. And then definitely if you're going to a wedding, if you're going to a party, there's going to be so many people there. Wearing makeup, right? Sometimes our parties or our gatherings, there are like mixed weddings, right? There's men on one side, women on the other side. There is actually no barrier in between, but whatever, like the tables are separate. There's a lot of women there. Of course, who's going to, or no one should, but like who's going to sit there and figure out, that woman over there, right? Her makeup is the best because everybody's wearing it. So if you're in a situation where it's a party and it's a wedding and, even though there are men in the room, but you're with a bunch of women and it's on one side, again, that's something that you would want to fit in and you're not going to stick out, right? And then, of course, definitely when it's an all girls party, by all means, there is nothing wrong with wearing makeup as long as we're able to pray our salah properly and as long as the ingredients of the makeup are clean. Okay, so I feel like I've been talking a lot. So let's do a quick recap of, the topic that I've covered or the topics that I've covered so that you guys can, summarize them. The very first one I had mentioned was water not penetrating through the makeup, when we're making wudu. So I wanted to add that make sure you do your research because sometimes we have makeup that, it allows the water to penetrate through it. So if that's the type of makeup you're wearing, that's, well and good. But if it is the type that is full coverage and it's oil-based and it's not going to let water penetrate through it, then you would have to remove it and make wudu. So anytime you're buying makeup or the one that you have, just make sure that you do your research. The second thing is I had mentioned that in the Quran, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, وَلَا يُبْدِينَ زِينَتَهُنَّ, that they should not expose their adornment. And then he talks about the different mahram, the different men in your relationships, in your relatives that you're allowed to go in front of without hijab and, enhancing yourself. So, make sure, you know who the mahram are. You know who those men are. If you guys have any questions, please feel free to ask in the comments. The third thing is I mentioned that, a woman should not go to a professional setting, wearing makeup that would cause unnecessary attention or unwanted attention. But I also want to add something, and that is that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, he says in the Quran for the men to lower their gaze as well. And this is something that in the Muslim community, we have to keep in mind. A lot of times, we police, our young girls, our women a lot about the way they're dressed, which is, it's important to talk about modesty. It's important to talk about hijab. It's important to how they're supposed to dress outside. I get all of that. But it's also important for us to understand that it's not only the woman's responsibility to maintain the haya in the society. It's not only her responsibility because, when someone does not have good intentions, right? A woman may not be even wearing makeup and they'll be giving her attention. So it's very important to educate our sons, our young boys, our men on this too, that you also have to lower your gaze. So even if a woman comes in and let's just say that she doesn't know much about Islam or, we're living in a country where there's a lot of non-Muslim women around us as well. So that does not mean that Muslim men should be giving them unnecessary attention, right? Muslim men also have a code of conduct that they have to follow according to the Quran and Sunnah. So I wanted to add that in here. And then the last thing that I wanted to highlight is, we do know that if it's a women's only gathering, women can, they can dress up. They don't have to wear hijab. They can wear any type of makeup they want. But something to really keep in mind is that, it is actually prohibited for a woman to go home and give details about how another woman looks like in front of the men in her life. So for example, her brother, her husband, her father. So always keep that in mind that, to maintain the sanctity, to maintain the purity of our sisterhood, and to allow our sisters to feel comfortable in these sister-only settings, we need to make sure that we don't go home and we don't talk to, our brothers or our husbands or our fathers about how so-and-so was dressed or how she looks. So that is something that we also have to keep in mind. I hope this video was beneficial. I know it did get a bit long. If you guys have any questions, please do ask in the comment section and like, share, and subscribe. I'll see you guys next time. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.